Hello, everybody, and welcome to the X Factor with the Crypto Hipster. This is your host, Jamil Hasan, where I bring you the X Factor, where I bring you policy and regulatory insights, analysis, news, commentary, my commentary all around the world, crypto and blockchain. And this is episode 79. It is season 4, episode 19. Which is episode 79. And I missed last week, and it was due to a good reason. We had a lag in the show, a skip of the show. I had a really bad tonsil infection for quite a while, for a week, and I was unable to talk and eat. But I am back now, and so we're going to move forward without skipping a beat. We didn't have any news last week. There was news, but nothing that we're going to cover this week. We're going to cover this past week's news of February 26th to today, March 1st. So welcome to my show. And guess what? I was going to wrap it up. This was going to be the last season. It was. However, no, I'm going to be marching forward. Why? A couple reasons. We got politics. We got a political season coming up in October, and people need to be in the know. They need to know what's going on. Okay. Number two, even a lot of these there's little influencers now who are new, fresh influencers who are out there. 7 years ago, there's fresh new influencers who were data experts who went right from the diaper to being a data expert without ever having worked in a job. They didn't know what a copy machine was. They didn't know anything. And you know what? Now they're back and they're in AI and they're in spades and they think they know everything and they don't know anything. In order to understand, technology and the downsides and possible threats and risks of it, you have to have had a job in technology mainly, and a lot of these fresh influencers, YouTubers, don't know where the coffee machine is or what a coffee machine is. They don't know what a cafeteria is or where the cafeteria is. They don't know a coffee machine. They don't know a water cooler. They don't know. They never sat in a cubicle. Never any of that. And in order for you guys to really understand what's going on, you need a voice, a person who understands, who's worked in technology, who worked in technology for 20 years, who understands the pros and the cons and the ins and the outs. That's me. So I'm here to help you navigate people you shouldn't be listening to with the facts and the truth. So after this season wraps up, we're going to go to the next season. And that's just going to be the way it is because, you guys need someone to trust. And how do you trust an anonymous influencer or a YouTuber who never worked and doesn't know the first thing about building any technology in their life? You can't and you don't. So I'm here. I'm here for you. Thank you. Let's start off. Let's kick things off. The biggest news of the day, and we're talking about AI. And the big news, the global implications is Elon Musk has sued Sam Altman, an OpenAI, over agreement breach. SpaceX, Tesla, and ex-owner Elon Musk, we all know who Elon Musk is in a legal battle with OpenAI and its CEO Sam Altman, claiming a breach of their nonprofit agreement. Of course he breached it. According to a recent filing in the Superior Court of California for the County of San Francisco, Musk argues that the OpenAI's collaboration with Microsoft has deviated from its foundational principles of advancing open source artificial general intelligence for the benefit of humanity. Musk's legal action details complaints such as contract breach, fiduciary duty violation, and unfair business practices. He urges OpenAI to return to its open source principles and requests an injunction to prevent the for-profit exploitation of AGI technology. Interesting, okay? According to the court filing, the launch of ChatGPT 4 in March 2023 deviated significantly from the OpenAI's principles. Despite being presented as a breakthrough in artificial intelligence, GPT-4 is a closed model, unlike earlier versions. Musk argues that this move toward proprietary tech benefits Microsoft financially, contradicting OpenAI's initial nonprofit mission. That makes sense. OpenAI started as a nonprofit AI research lab in 2015, but became a commercial giant after establishing a business arm in 2020. OpenAI has since shifted to a profit-driven model. Critics, including Musk, who co-founded OpenAI, argue that the company is now focused on speed and profit instead of positive human impact. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And let me know how you think that this will play out. A lot of these younger kids, they build, who are in jobs, they build on this technology. But guess what? There has to be a level of empathy. And unless you have been beaten down by life in some way, or have gone through life and you're not just 20 years old and never experienced anything, then you're not going to really understand what empathy is. So you have to, these young kids got to, like, Ballman, maybe younger, got to be kept in check. So that's that. Then we want to talk about Hester Pierce. She's at the SEC. She's like, got this whole bad cop, Gary Gensler, and good cop, Hester Pierce thing going on. Hester Pierce, when she talks, people should listen. It's kind of like back in the day, E.F. Hutton. E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. Now, SEC's Hester Pierce is talking. She wants more decentralization in the financial system. That's cool. U.S. Security Exchange Commission Commissioner Hester Pierce has advocated for more decentralization in the U.S. financial system, along with a softer approach to crypto regulation and enforcement. Pierce, also known as Crypto Mom, closed her fireside chat with CNBC's Mackenzie Sigalos at ETH Denver conference on February 29 by saying decentralization benefits the U.S. financial system. Centralization means you have concentrated risks, she said, before adding decentralization, blockchain, can actually bring resilience and strength to the financial system. So I'd love to see more resilience and strength. Points of centralization always keep me up at night. Pierce, a former lawyer, was appointed by former President Donald Trump to the SEC in 2018. She has been affectionately called Crypto Mom for her support of the industry and has often shown dissent against over-regulation of digital assets by her boss, Gary, doesn't belong there, Gensler. Let me know your thoughts on that. And if you were in Denver, I'd love to know what your experience was. Apparently, this ETH Denver thing is a major conference for Ethereum, and they do it every year. And apparently, it's really great. So maybe someday, maybe I'll attend. Yours truly's next conference will be in July at the Litecoin Summit, where yours truly is a digital sponsor for that wonderful event. So make sure you check it out. Now, talked about the SEC. We're going to talk a little bit more about the SEC. Okay. U.S. lawmakers advanced resolution to get banks in on crypto custody. So the regulators want banks to be custodians. Okay. Let's see how that's going to play out. The U.S. House Financial Services Committee, HSFC, has voted in favor of a resolution that seeks to overturn a U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission guideline that has prevented banks from getting in on crypto custody. Oh, by the way, employees at SEC are not allowed to hold crypto, so that's a deterrent too. But hey, you need, in order to get the best of the best and the best of the brightest, you got to be able to, meet people halfway and negotiate that should not be a violation or a impediment to getting a job. Hey, I digress. In a February 29 makeup hearing, 31 HSFC members from both sides of the political aisle voted in favor of the resolution, with 20 members voting against it. By overturning SAB 121, the resolution will ensure consumers are protected by removing roadblocks that prevent highly regulated banks from acting as custodians of digital assets. The SEC Staff Accounting Bulletin number 121, introduced in March 2022, is a set of guidelines that require institutions that custody crypto assets to record crypto holdings as liabilities on their balance sheet. Now, that doesn't make sense. Republican Congressperson Mike Flood said that the lawmaker who introduced the resolution said that the SAB 121 was unfair for banks looking to custody crypto, as the custodial assets are always considered off balance sheet, which includes securities and digital assets, such as Bitcoin. The ramifications of requiring banks to hold these assets on balance sheets are pretty significant, he said. If a bank were to custody digital assets, according to the SAB 121, the on-balance sheet treatment would affect their other regulatory obligations and their capital and liquidity requirements. You know what? I have crypto. I put it on my balance sheet. I don't care what anybody thinks. To me, it's an asset. Crypto is an asset. And this should be used as, if you want to take a loan from a bank, if you want to put your crypto up, take a loan from a bank or a financial service institution, crypto should be viewed as a desirable long-term asset, capital asset. That's what MicroStrategy does for their balance. They have on their balance sheet. It's an asset. It's an asset. I don't know how many times I got to say that. Hopefully not too much longer, but I'm going to say it again. It's an asset. So let's talk about, let's go back. Let's revisit this artificial intelligence discussion. We kicked off the show with talking about artificial intelligence and the fact that your favorite little freaking, social media influencer who's telling you which AIs to buy because they're going down the list on CoinGecko of what AIs exist, and they're telling you, oh yeah, buy this. Oh yeah, I called it. Oh yeah, me. Dude, if you never worked in your life, you never had a job in technology, you don't understand the dangers and the backside of what's here in AI. You're not just talking about retail users here, you're talking to institutions implementing technology. And if you never did it, you don't do it. You don't know how to do it. So people shouldn't be listening to you. If anybody wants to know what list to buy, there's an app called CoinGecko. There are different categories. One of them is artificial intelligence coins. I would go there, I would look at the list, and then I would start doing research of what those cryptos are. So that's really cool. It's an app. It looks like a little gecko. It's called CoinGecko. Go there, go to categories, look at AI coins, and then start doing research. Don't need to listen to influencers who never worked. Anyway, I digress back into the truth. The truth is, OpenAI accuses the New York Times of hacking AI models in a copyright lawsuit. Because why wouldn't you sue the New York Times? Because they get a lot of things wrong recently over the years that they've digressed. OpenAI has asked for a federal judge to dismiss parts of the New York Times copyright lawsuit against it, arguing that the newspaper paid someone to hack ChatGPT. Oh, yeah? Really? And other artificial intelligence systems to generate misleading evidence for the case. In a Manhattan federal court filing on Monday, OpenAI stated that the New York Times caused the technology to reproduce its material through deceptive prompts that violate OpenAI's terms of use. I can see that. OpenAI did identify the individual it claims the New York Times employed to manipulate its systems, avoiding accusations of the newspaper violating anti-hacking laws. In the filing, OpenAI said the allegation in the Times complaint did not meet its famously rigorous journalistic standards. Yeah, well, it hasn't abided to the standards in a long time. But the truth, which will come out of this case, is that the Times paid someone to hack OpenAI's products. I don't think their employees are smart enough. OpenAI's claim of hacking is, according to the newspaper's attorney Ian Crosby, merely an effort to use OpenAI's products to find evidence of the alleged theft and reproduction of the New York Times copyrighted work. Wow. In December 2023, the New York Times filed a lawsuit against OpenAI and its leading financial supporter, Microsoft. The lawsuit alleges the unauthorized use of millions of New York Times articles to train chatbots that provide information to users. But once the articles out there in the public domain, which the articles were, then why not use it if you reference? Here's the thing: you got to reference the source. That's a challenge with this AI, is it doesn't reference the source. So people could replicate anything that I do or you do or anybody else does through OpenAI, through ChatGPT. The fact of the matter is that it's proprietary, or it's they own the content. ChatGPT does not own the content. OpenAI does not own the content. The source owns the content. So that's going to be a challenge as we move forward. How to prove provenance. One great way to prove provenance, is to blockchain. Yeah, blockchain. Blockchain helps to prove provenance. Now let's talk about the Fed. Yeah, the U.S. Fed. Let's talk about that. Okay. I'm trying to see what we're going to talk about with the Fed. I don't know. U.S. Federal Reserve warns about CBDCs. Yes, the U.S. Fed analysts warn foreign CBDCs and stablecoins could lead to the erosion of the dollar's role. Interesting. Okay, so let's check that. What this has to say. All right. The U.S. Federal Reserve System's Board of Governors recently released a research paper highlighting what it perceives as the pros and cons of developing and issuing a central bank digital currency to keep up with unnamed foreign powers. CBDCs are digital currencies controlled by the government issuing them. Proponents argue that issuing a US CBDC would support the dollar's position as a de facto international currency. Detractors, on the other hand, insist that CBDC will open the doors for centralization, invasion of privacy, and the ability for U.S. authorities to freeze assets at any time. I think it was a few weeks ago, presidential candidate Donald Trump said under his watch there will never be a U.S. Digital currency, a U.S. Government-backed, government-fed digital currency. Might be misquoting myself here, but there will not be a CBDC. There will not be a central bank digital currency. Okay. The CBDCs are digital currencies controlled by the government. Proponents argue that issuing a U.S. CBDC would support the dollar's position as de facto international currency, right? In a recent paper, a pair of senior economic analysts examined the potential implications of a U.S. CBDC on the dollar and its role in international payments. Over 90% of central banks are exploring CBDCs. The researchers add in the Fed is also exploring the implication of and options for introducing a CBDC. You know what? Here in the U.S., because we've seen all the money printing that happened during COVID, we saw all the money printing, all the handing of money, all the handing of cash. The machine went money printing machine, and it handed all these billions of dollars to boomer executives who were not doing well in their companies, who were not performing, and that masked, that really hid that fact that those companies were underperforming. So you can't turn the money printer on and then expect someone to be more skilled, talented, and have abilities that they never did have when they walked into the door. That is just a Band-Aid on top of a gushing wound. And we learned by now that the Fed should stay really involved in only Fed things, which is not, the proliferation of, Wall Street, the proliferation of corporate America. It's just not. Researchers in this report go on to state the dollar could lose ground as a global go-to for international transactions. Quote, depending on other CBDCs or foreign currency denominated stablecoins, design features, there's some potential for the erosion of the dollar's role as a medium of exchange if the U.S. CBDC is not issued or has unattractive design features, which is likely if you have the government doing something It's not going to be from an entrepreneurial or an executive viewpoint. It's going to be most likely, dumbfounded, or not based in, anything that makes sense from a crypto perspective, and not making sense from a crypto perspective, and not making sense at all is a certain politician that we talk about quite frequently on this show. It's Elizabeth Warren, if you haven't figured that out by now. She now says, after going on her against crypto army, against anti-crypto stance, against everything anti-crypto, now Elizabeth Warren wants a level playing field for crypto and big tech AI blocks. What does that mean? Rampant stupid. U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren has called for a legal level playing field for crypto and restrictions on big tech creating artificial intelligence models. Warren reiterated her crypto position, stating she wants to collaborate with the industry. All of a sudden, she wants to collaborate after years of not wanting to. Okay, she must realize that she's in trouble against John Deaton in this election coming up. Then crypto is going to be 100% supportive of John Deaton. We got to get Elizabeth Warren out, because the people of Massachusetts, the great, wonderful, outstanding people of Massachusetts, have a responsibility, and that responsibility is to vote this woman out of office. In our financial system, pretty much everybody follows the same set of rules. She said before, adding, my view is that it's the same kind of activity, the same kind of risk, and should have the same kind of regulations. I'm not looking for fancier regulations or anything tougher. I just want a level playing field, which is a 180, man. It's a 180, because you're saying political things to get reelected again, instead of saying what you really want when you told us for 4 years what you really want, and you wanted us to go away. And guess what? We're not going away. We're going to vote you out. However, Elizabeth Warren said collaboration efforts have been hampered, and claimed the industry says the only way they can survive is there's plenty of space for crime. Bullshit. And listed ransomware, scammers, drug and human traffickers, and terrorists among those crypto industry wants concessions for. Now, that's bullshit too. So stop your lying, stop your corruption, and go take a walk. That's my view on this person. And so we're going to talk about one person who committed greater crimes than Elizabeth Warren. I don't know if Elizabeth Warren created crimes. She just lied. Okay? Lying to the public once they vote you in, is that a crime? I mean, it's expected out of politicians, but crime, fraud, a fraudster, Sam Bankman-Fried, who's due this month to be sentenced, his brother said his life would be wasted in prison. Okay? So, lawyers for Sam Bankman-Fried included 29 letters of support for clemency for the former FTX CEO as a federal judge prepares to decide his sentence, including recommendations from his immediate family. In a February 27 filing in the U.S. District Court of Southern District of New York, SBF's lawyers attached letters from Barbara Fried, Joseph Bankman, and Gabrielle Bankman-Fried, the former CEO's mother, father, and brother, respectively. Perhaps predictably, all three asked for a light sentence for Bankman-Fried's 7 felony charges, delving into the 31-year-old's childhood personality and role at FTX. Sam has made mistakes, but his life would be wasted in prison, said Gabriel. He has great gifts to offer the world. We've seen the gifts he's offered the world, Gabriel, and it's called fraud. Okay? Unlike a trial where aspects of a defendant's character may not always be presented as evidence, sentencing opens the door to various personal appeals from friends and family members. On March 28, Judge Lewis Kaplan will decide how long Bankman-Fried remains in prison as the former CEO returns to court for one of the last times. Wow. Okay. What about the lives of everybody who was defrauded? Is that important? Is that as important as your brother? Is that important as Sam Bankman-Fried's life? Whose life is more important? Everybody whose life was destroyed, or Sam Bankman-Fried's life? Let me know your thoughts. I'm not going to say which one's more important. I'm not going to say which of the thousands of lives are the most important. That's up to you. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about that. Is he gonna stay in jail for a long time? Is he gonna do 6 or 7 years? What is he gonna do? And so we're gonna go to when we figure that out. We're gonna go to Europe. We're gonna talk about Spain briefly. Okay. Um, Spanish financial regulator warns investors over 18 unlicensed entities. What is this all about? Let's see. The National Securities Market Commission, CNMV, Spain's principal financial regulator, has published a list of 18 companies operating in the country without a proper license. The CNMV published the list on February 26th, which includes several crypto companies such as Binex, Crypto Emerge, Crypto Maxi Trade. According to the regulator, these companies are not registered in the corresponding registry of this commission and therefore are not authorized to provide investment services or other activities subject to the supervision of the CNMV. The regulator acknowledges that its powers are limited and advises concerned investors to consider going to the ordinary course of justice. The number of crypto companies officially registered to operate in Spain grew by roughly 56% in 2023, according to the official registry published as an Excel document on Spain's central bank website. 30 companies were granted a virtual asset service provider license in 2023. At publication time, that includes 83 companies, including multinationals like Binance, or according to Janet Yellen, Binance, Bitpanda, Revolut, and Crypto.com. Let me know your thoughts on everything we talked about so far today. And then we're going to go to a couple things to talk about in Asia versus Hong Kong. Hong Kong ends license application for drive for crypto exchanges. Hong Kong has stopped accepting license applications from crypto exchanges as of February 29th, which was yesterday, which is a leap year, and will soon require all non-compliant trading platforms to close their business locally. The Securities and Futures Commission of Hong Kong noted that all crypto exchanges in Hong Kong that have failed to file for license applications must wind up businesses by May 31st of this year. The Hong Kong SFC also urged investors using virtual trading platforms to make preparations early and migrate to one of the players that have either already received operating licenses or have applied for one. The SFC formerly licensed True Crypto trading operators in Hong Kong, the OSL Digital Securities, and Hashkey Exchange in 2020 and 2022, respectively. The regulator received license applications from 22 crypto trading platforms, including 4 exchanges that had applied under the SFC's previous opt-in regime for crypto trading platforms. Interesting. Okay, that's that. And then we're going to go to South Korea. Okay, let's see. South Korea's ruling party backtracks on spot Bitcoin ETF election promise. There you go. Another politician making promises and then backing away. Isn't that familiar? Elizabeth Warren. Let's see. But Elizabeth Warren is not in South Korea. She's in Massachusetts, where the great people of Massachusetts have a responsibility to vote her out. It's a responsibility and duty to the nation. South Korea's ruling People Power Party has indefinitely delayed its proposal to ease cryptocurrency restrictions, including lifting the ban on local spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds. According to a report by local media outlet Chosen Biz, the party's reversal of pledges could be linked to challenges in aligning with the government and financial authorities on cryptocurrency policies. Earlier this month, there were reports that the governing party was crafting election promises to delay taxing crypto profits and permit domestic institutions to introduce spot Bitcoin ETFs and invest directly in crypto. The People Power Party reportedly removed virtual assets from its policy priorities as the party, led by Yoon Chang-yuen, intended to announce a virtual asset pledge last week but has postponed it indefinitely. Let me know your thoughts on politicians who talk out the side of their buttocks. All right. So let's do South Australia or Pacific Islands first before we go to Africa. We got two more things for you. The IMF urges careful design, slow introduction for Pacific Island digital currencies. Maybe the IMF is overstepping. They have a tendency to do that. Let's check it out. And let's keep that in the back of our minds before we delve into this. Conditions in the Pacific Island countries PICs create unique currency needs. Digital currencies are up to the task of meeting those needs with the right design features, the International Monetary Fund found in a new paper. At the same time, it warned against the use of unbacked cryptocurrencies as national currency. PICs are tiny, diverse, and geographically isolated markets with particular servicing and inclusion challenges, such as a high dependence on remittances and vulnerability to reduced correspondent bank services. They are also liable to run afoul of international anti-money laundering efforts because of poor controls. PICs differ by the development of local payment systems and whether they have their own fiat currency, among other things. Some PICs have no financial local infrastructure at all. So what are they calling a PIC here? Is what I'm interested to see. PICs predominantly are they trade with large countries outside of the region, which is true. Are they saying it's Fiji and Tonga? What are they saying? Let's see. It's important that they specify which countries they're actually talking about. So I don't see what they're saying. There must be a whole bunch of Gilligan Islands out there in the Pacific that, with Ginger and Marianne and the professor and Gilligan and Thurston Howell and his wife and the skipper and all that Gilligan that they don't want Gilligan making a digital asset, making a digital currency, but Gilligan is kind of smarter than your social media influencers who are shilling you coins when they never had a job. So I don't know. That's a good question. Let me know your thoughts. Who's smarter, Gilligan or your favorite social media influencer? Let's go to Nigeria. Nigeria's central bank head criticizes Binance, or according to Janet Yellen, Binance. Execs reportedly arrested. There's an arrest here. That's juicy. Binance is facing more security in Nigeria, the governor of the central bank of Nigeria told newspaper reporters this week regarding suspicious flows of funds through Binance Nigeria in 2023. The country's Securities and Exchange Commission and other government agencies are already eyeing the crypto exchange with suspicion. CBN head Aliyama Cordoso said crypto exchanges in Nigeria are under suspicion. We are concerned that certain practices go on to indicate illicit flows going through a number of these entities, suspicious flows at best. He told the local press, he said, in the case of Binance, in the last 1 year alone, 26 billion has passed through Nigeria from the sources and users who we cannot adequately identify. And that's another thing. You have a lot of social media. You have people who are not docs. You have no idea what they are. You look at their names, crypto person or whatever, generic. And then you try to do some research and it doesn't tie back to anybody who has identified. It's a problem, So going forward, that's got to change. How's it going to change? Let me know your thoughts. I have a thought, and see how it plays out. It's this Bitcoin thing. Bitcoin pen, a giant green candle this month. I mean, it went up by a lot, almost hit all-time highs. And why is that? Why is it going to go higher? We don't talk about price on this show, but hey, when you have institutions like BlackRock, like Fidelity, who want to sell their ETFs to institutional clients, you don't want people in the space who are bringing leverage 1000x betting to the space. You want a nice clean slate for everybody. And what does it look like? We're going to find out. I have my thoughts. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for listening in to the another episode of the X Factor with the Crypto Hipster. This is episode 79. 79. Next week's 80, and then we start a new season. Because I gotta be here to keep your little influencers in check and make sure that you understand what's going on. be the single source of trust. Have a great week. See you next week.